All right, everyone. Welcome to book club tonight. I'm super excited to be here with you. I am Elana Johnson, and we are here for our Relationtrip book club. So, if you're new to our book club, welcome. We do live events every couple of months or so, I would say. And sometimes they're book club. Our last book club was Morris, way back in, gosh, Morris came out in August. So I guess we did that book club either the end of August or beginning of September. We've done some other live events since then, but in all of our live events, we have a lot of fun. We bring some snacks. I brought my favorite Ferrero Rocher this time, some chocolate, and then of course just my water because I have talk a lot. So, oh, and it's got grapefruit in it. Oh, it's delicious. Okay. We always start by kind of getting people going in the comments. So I think we're live on the Feel Good Fiction page on Facebook, and I think we're live on the Feel Good Fiction page on YouTube. I can see people in both of those places. So when you comment, I should be able to see them coming in, and I can put them up on the screen. So all of our comments always go toward a giveaway. So make sure that you're commenting, that you're doing things. We're going to be doing book club. So book club is talking a little bit, and it's kind of boring if it's just me talking to myself. I've got a couple questions for us tonight. And then I have, I'm going to do a little reading of one of our bonuses. Not sure if anybody has seen a bonus or not. I'm a little worried now that that maybe people can't hear me. So I'm going to just check really quick and see if people can hear me or not. And as the comments working, I don't see any comments coming in. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. Sometimes I do this with my husband, so it's a little bit better. But let's see if I can hear myself or not. I'm not so sure. If I can, I don't know if I know we have people watching. Oh, okay. Naomi says she can hear me on Facebook. Good news, because I just made it like I could hear myself on Facebook and there was nothing there. I was like, oh, shoot. Maybe my speakers aren't working. I was having some trouble with the speakers a little bit earlier. I couldn't get them to play for me, which isn't really a big deal because I don't really have to hear myself. I can hear myself. But I was like, what's happening from the computer? Anyway, good news. Naomi says she can hear me. Kristen says she can hear me. Good. Okay. Welcome to book club. It is pouring snow here. I know you don't really say pouring snow, but it is pouring snow. It will not stop. We are in the midst of a severe winter storm where I live. I live just south of Salt Lake City at the base of the Rocky Mountains. I guess it's in the Rocky Mountains. Anyway, we always do a giveaway right before I got distracted by the sound. And tonight's giveaway is a fantastic, massive book box for the Relationtrip. This thing is huge. It's huge. I think you're really going to love it. I sent out 12 or 13 of these last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe the week before that, to some book bloggers and book talkers, and they're starting to unbox them on the internet, which is super exciting for me because I get to see them. And this super cute reader, yesterday I saw her video on TikTok, and she's like, I don't know who curated this box, but whoever did should give themselves a raise. And I was like, that was me, my friends. Like, this box is really cute and amazing, and when you open it, you're already in the tropics. So if you're like me and you live in Utah, when you open it, you already get to see the yellow and it's orange and white and all the tropical leaves. Look at the fun tropical leaves. And it's like a party in a box. All the book boxes come with the Relationtrip in paperback, and then they come with curated items that go with the book. Sometimes they're just beach items. Sometimes it's just a fun care item like a body butter. Sometimes it's a candle. And then sometimes there's sort of seemingly random things that go with the Relationtrip. So we're going to be talking about that. And somebody who comments tonight during our live, which is how we do it, you show up live to the book clubs or any of our live events, and you comment live, and you get entered to win. I'm home alone today. My family is out of town, so you can see my little dog is right here. Willow, my big dog's right there. He likes to pretend like his life is terrible. And it kind of is right now because look at him. Look how sad he is. Normally I take them to the park every day. And today we didn't get to go because it has been snowing all day long. And they're both doodles, and their fur is literally like sheep's wool. And the snow just sticks on it like crazy. And so they get all these big balls of snow all over them. And it's just horrible, and I hate it. So I didn't take them to the park today. So they're so sad. And their life is not terrible. They have gotten a great many treats. But any comments that come in will be entered to win. Enough snow already. Lynette lives in Utah as well. So she just said enough snow already. Yeah, we've had enough. We've had so much. And I'm glad for it, but I'm also like, and now I'm ready for it to stop. Book box winner tonight and a paperback winner tonight. So 2 winners tonight from the comments. And all comments are entered to win. We pause at the end while I do a random generator for comments, and you might be able to win. So if you are live with us, go ahead and comment. And our first question is always, tell me where you are and where you're joining us from and what the weather is like there. So it's not always what the weather is like there, but for this one it is because of my snow, and I gotta find a way to like make peace with it or something. But I just went to Florida last weekend. I was there teaching at a conference all day Saturday, and I was like, this is so amazing that you just get to walk right outside and there's like no snow and it's not cold and I don't need a jacket and I don't have to go, oh, let me check the weather and see what's going on. And I just went outside. It was fantastic. It was amazing. I really loved it. I was like, this is the greatest day ever. So I was in the Orlando area, and then I went about an hour southeast of there down to the place called Melbourne and Cocoa Beach. I got to go to Cocoa Beach. I'd never been to Cocoa Beach before. So that was exciting. So Kristen says it's sunny and 60 today in Long Island, New York. No snow there. She wishes she had snow. I got about 14 inches in the last day, so I can give you a big pile of it if you really want it. And I don't, and I wish I did. I just like to hunker down in the house when it's snowing like this. My husband and daughter went to California to see his parents for a couple of days, and so he loaded me up with groceries. He got the mail. And he's like, and now you won't have to leave the house. I'm like, oh, yay. And I'm not going to leave the house till I have to go pick them up on Friday. Oh, we got some more people coming in. We see Crescent City, Florida. Oh, I don't even know where that is. I wonder which coast. I feel like all of Florida is on a coast, but I'm sure it's not. We've got people from South Texas, warm and partly cloudy. I have a friend who lives in the Houston area. She sent me some videos of her horse today, and it looked pretty cloudy, overcast there. I don't know how close that is to Dallas. No, she lives in Houston. Kansas City, storms maybe was over 80. Oh, man, over 80. I can't even imagine. Well, I just went to Florida, so I can't imagine it. But it has not been warm here today. I think our high was like 28 or something. And Naomi says in Lake Superior it's 25, snowy and windy. That's about my life too, minus the lake. So, I mean, there is the Great Salt Lake. We get this lake effect, they say, but I live a little bit south of that, so I don't always see that. So awesome. We're coming in from seemingly all over. We've got people in the Midwest, people in Florida, people in New York, people up north, people in Texas. Welcome to Book Club. I am Elana Johnson, and I'm super happy that you are here with me tonight. So I hope that you've had a chance to read The Relationtrip. If you haven't been able to read The Relationtrip, today and tomorrow is the best day to buy it. So the book is on all retailers. So for our Amazon friends, Nook, Apple, Kobo, and Google Play, and my direct site. The book is only 99 cents today and tomorrow. So it's really the best time to buy it because it's usually $4.99. It's only been out 3 weeks. I don't usually do a big sale like this, but I decided to do a big promotion. It's a standalone. You don't have to read anything before or anything after. You don't have to get invested, even though you might be invested. But you don't have to keep track of brothers and sisters and cousins and dogs and horses. For those of you who read my Liz books, those big family sagas. And P.S. I just finished Gabe. Final edits on Gabe. He's off to the proofreader. He's going to be out in 2 weeks. And I should be writing my next beach book. And instead, I kept working in the Young family because there's so many of them. If you've read my Liz Isaacson, Coral Canyon Cowboys, I'm working on Jem now. He's book 7. And there's just so many of them. And all of their kids and their horses and their dogs and their managers and their girlfriends and their masseuses. And anyway, I love being in that world too, but it was so freeing to just write, this sort of standalone, vacation romance where I got to go to the beach. I wrote the whole thing on the beach when I was in Grand Cayman. I went to Grand Cayman for 10 days at the end of January, and I wrote the entire book while I was there on the beaches. So that was amazing. Oh, thank you, Lynette. Lynette says, it's a fantastic book. Thank you so much. It's a little bit different than my other Elana books. My other Elana Johnson books are beachy, but they're written in third person. This book is written in first. They feature heroes and heroines that are a little bit older, late 30s and 40s, and this book features people in their early 30s. So it's just a little bit different feel. I didn't really write it to be a rom-com, but sort of when you write in that first person, it sort of feels like that anyway. So it's just a little bit more stream of conscious, a little bit more in your head, I guess. But I really loved writing it, and I would really love to do a standalone once or twice a year and just kind of cleanse the palate from the big family saga and just kind of get a new, just pull a story out and be like, this is the story, and not worry about keeping track of a ton of details. So in book club, we talk a little bit about the book. We can talk about other books too. If you have questions, you can put those in the comments as well, and we'll do those at the end. I tried to do a Q&A once and I didn't get a lot of questions, so we'll see if anybody has those. But in the Relationtrip, Logan and Sloane are best friends. And they became best friends when Sloane stood up at the altar 5 years ago, and she had her honeymoon tickets to the Riviera Maya in Mexico, and she was trying to exchange the extra ticket or turn it in or something. And Logan happened to be there and didn't have a ticket. His flight had been canceled, and he ends up going on her non-honeymoon with her to Mexico 5 years ago. And since then, since they both live in a very snowy place, Sloane lives in Pittsburgh and Logan lives in Superior, so up in Wisconsin. So Naomi, who said she was on Lake Superior, that's where he lives. They take a vacation together I call it the midwinter vacation in January, but they go in January. And that's sort of based on my own life, because I need a midwinter vacation every January from Utah because it is cold and snowy and I need to see the sun, and the beach is like my spirit landform. And so I love doing that and escaping and finding somewhere warm where I can just be for a little bit. So I kind of based, the midwinter trip on my desire to have a midwinter trip every year. I don't have one. I did this year, but I don't always. And they're supposed to go to Florida. They have a resort in Florida that they're going to go to. It's this private resort, and there's a flood that prevents them from going. So Logan, being this sort of taskmaster, detail-oriented person he is, finds a last-minute resort in Belize. Belize, you guys. I have always wanted to go to Belize. I shouldn't say always. I've wanted to go to Belize for the past couple of years, And I haven't been able to go, but I want to. And so that would be like one of my dream vacations. So let's see. I thought I had one up here. Our first question is, what is one of your dream vacations? So go ahead and put that in a comment. Let's see what you got. Let's see. See if anybody's going to respond. I think it's a little delayed on your end. It takes me a second before I start to be able to see things. But what is a dream vacation that you have? Go ahead and put that in a comment and let's talk about amazing dream vacations. Oh, I found it. I found my banner. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Oh, Naomi says she's 4 hours west of Superior. Want to visit the beach, a beach without snow and ice. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, Cheryl says she wants to go to Belize too. So I'll admit, when I chose Belize for the vacation spot, because this is a vacation romance, I chose Belize because I have another friend. She lives in Colorado. They had gone to Belize for Christmas, and she told me about this amazing resort they were staying at where they could only use golf carts. So in the Relationtrip, there are no cars allowed at the resort where Sloane and Logan stay. And so I kind of modified that from what she had told me about Belize. And that was it. That's all she said, is that they had to take a golf cart everywhere. And I was like, sweet, I can put that in a book. So just goes to show that no conversations with authors are safe. Lynette says she wants to go to Paris. Cheryl says she wants to go to Italy. Oh, I would love to go to Paris and Italy. Lynette, the one time I was going to get to go to Paris was in March of 2020. And in case your memory is foggy of March of 2020, as mine is, that was right before COVID literally shut down Italy and Paris. We were in England, we were in London, and we had train tickets to Paris and a hotel in Paris for just one night. We're going to go there on the speed train, stay for the day, stay for the night, stay for part of the next day, and train back to London. We decided not to go to Paris because France was shutting down. Like the Louvre started getting shut down. We were like, what if they shut down the borders? What if we get stuck in France? What if we get COVID? And so we didn't go. We ended up going to Amsterdam instead, which I don't know if it was safer or not safer. We didn't get COVID, but they weren't shutting their country down. Kristen says Bora Bora, one of the huts right on the water. Ooh, that's a good idea. I am going to need to look up where Bora Bora is. I think that's over in by Australia, right? Australia, New Zealand, Fiji area. I'm going to guess. Smoky Mountains. I love the mountains too. So Sandra, I think you're on the right track there. Smoky Mountains would be a fantastic dream vacation. I do love the mountains. I like how peaceful they are and how quiet they are. One without kids. Yes, amazing. I have taken several vacations without my kids, and I will say that there is a different kind of relaxation when you're not worried about, is there going to be something for him to eat or something for her to eat? Are they going to be happy? What time are we going to get up? What time are we going to go? When I just travel with myself or with my husband, I get to choose all of those things myself, and it's fantastic. We see Christine says, I would love to go to South or North Carolina because I'm a beach person. Same. So I have been to Hilton Head in South Carolina, which was super fun. And I have a whole series of books set there now. That's the beach book I'm supposed to be writing. It comes out May 25th, but I'm really struggling with it. I shouldn't admit that. I'm really struggling with it. I haven't written in that series since last August. And I like Joy and Scott. They're my hero and heroine. I've outlined the book. I spent all last week with them. I read book 3 over again. I'm like, I am ready. And I sat down to write it yesterday, and I was like, I got nothing. So I'm going to let that one sit for a minute. I'm going to work on Gem, my Liz Isaacson cowboy, and I will come back to Elena's Seaside Strategy. That's the name. No, it's not Seaside Strategy. It's called The Beach Blueprint. I'm going to come back to that one. I don't know, maybe next week, maybe when I'm starting to feel beachy, um, all of that. Oh, and Kristen says, I'm waiting on those three. Yeah, me too. So Joy and Scott are going to be super fun. And I stole a little part of another friend's love story for their love story, where Joy texts Scott at the end of the last book of Lauren's book and says she doesn't want him dating anybody but her. I totally stole that from a friend of mine. She texted this guy who kept asking her out, and she kept telling him no, no, no. And then he was going to go out with someone else. And she was like, yeah, that's not okay. And that's kind of what Joy did. So I'm going to be releasing those this summer, May, July, and September. And then that series, Supper Club series, will be done. Cheryl's waiting on Gem. Gem, first 2 chapters are done. I kind of have a really good idea of what's happening in Gem, know what needs to happen in Gem. And there's a lot of family stuff that needs to happen in Gem too that I maybe sort of skipped over in Gabe, because Gabe was so long already. And there was so much band stuff in Gabe that I didn't want to get too much into the family stuff. So we'll get back to both of those. So I'm glad you guys like those series as well. It looks like we maybe have all of our dream vacation comments in the comments and up. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that about your dream vacation. I want to know where to go next. I've not been to the Smoky Mountains. And honestly, I keep telling my husband, I want to go to New England. I want to go to New England in the fall when I can see the leaves. I've never been to Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Boston. Like, I know Boston is in Massachusetts, but I've never been up there. I've been to New York City, but that's it. So kind of up in the New England area. I've been to Virginia. We went to Washington, D.C. a couple years ago. But even like the Maryland, sort of Delaware coast, I've never been to. And I really love to go to New England in the fall. I want to see all those amazing leaves. So people who live there, I just don't think they realize how lucky they are. And of course, I live in Utah, where there's like 6 national parks, and people from all over the world come here and exclaim over the beauty of it. And it is amazing. I've been to all of them several times, and I can't complain about where I live either. So I'm not going to. All right. So at book club, we kind of talk about the book, but I also understand that sometimes people haven't read the book. So for this question, I kind of wanted to talk about Sloane and Logan. They're in their early 30s. Sloane is a real estate agent, and Logan is a romance novelist, which I absolutely loved writing. He's a male romance novelist, and he kind of has kept his identity a secret from everyone. Even his mom and dad don't know. Sloane doesn't know. Only his sister knows what he does, and of course his agent and his editors. And then he's a hybrid author, is what we call hybrid in the industry. He writes some books and sells them to publishers, and he writes some books and self-publishes them. So he does both. So I kind of wanted to know, what did you like about them and what didn't you like about them? I don't really read reviews. But I have seen some, and honestly, I think it's just sort of indicative of a few things that are inside my own head. And then I also wanted you to maybe talk about friends to lovers. It's one of my all-time favorite tropes. I love friends to lovers. I think I like it more than enemies to lovers, which is hard because I do love the enemies to lovers vibe that kind of goes back and forth, and they don't want to be together, but at the same time they do want to be together. So I do love that as well, but I definitely really love the friends to lovers because there's a history there. So if you haven't read Relationtrip yet, then you can talk about friends to lovers, or even just tropes, any sort of romance tropes that you like. I wrote romance, so I mean, we could talk about, fantasy tropes if you wanted to, but it's like the hero's journey or whatever. And just kind of what you think about that, what you maybe thought about Sloane and Logan, if you liked them, if you didn't like them, what you liked about them, and maybe what you thought even of the vacation part of it. because I think that was a challenging aspect for me, is like they're on vacation. And I don't know if you've ever been on vacation, but sometimes it doesn't feel like real life, right? Like you're not doing your own dishes. You don't have to make your own bed. You don't really have any responsibilities. You're not getting up and going to work. And that's part of what I love about reading and writing it. But it kind of feels like there's always this inherent conflict of this isn't real life. So once we get back to real life, maybe I'll feel differently about this person. But I kind of like that about it. So if you've read The Relationtrip, tell me what you think of I keep saying Loan and Slogan. Logan and Sloane. I should not have done else. I always like hearing what people liked about characters and what they didn't like about characters, because for a writer, character is everything. And we want to deliver a character to readers that they can see themselves in and that they can cheer for and that they also see as like a hero or a heroine. So there's a lot going on right here. Tropes, friends to lovers, the characters that you read that you liked or didn't like. You can talk about any of those things. All comments go for a book box or for The Relationtrip. And while you're doing that, I'm going to read a little bit of the bonus chapter. So there's actually 2 chapters. It's like 2,500, 3,000 words bonus content. And if you haven't gotten the bonus content, you just have to sign up for the bonus content newsletter, which really just puts you on a list that sends you an email that says, here's the bonus content. So it's not like it's, you know, like you're going to get a ton of emails or anything from it. And if you don't like how many emails you get, or if I'm emailing you about The Relationtrip or other beach romances and you don't like that, then you can unsubscribe. But you can sign up at subscribepage.com Relationtrip, and you can get the bonus content for The Relationtrip. So I hope those of you who have read it have been able to do that. I'm going to read just a little bit of it. I'm not going to read all of it, because it's quite long and I don't want this to be all a reading. I didn't even break it into chapters. I just broke it into scenes and who's narrating each scene. So you get to see Logan again and you get to see Sloane again. I love having the male point of view in a romance. But this bonus chapter starts with Sloane. So when I say I, it's going to be her. So I'm just going to read just a little bit of it. It'll just be a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back and check on your comments about the characters, what you liked and didn't like, or any romance tropes that are your favorite. Okay, so this is Sloane, and she says, I lean into the window, my forehead scrunching against the plastic part of the plane that's probably covered in a million germs from the thousands of other people who've tried to see out. There it is, I say, the tropical turquoise mixing with the sandy beige and then the tropical greens of Belize. The last time Logan and I flew to this country, it was dark. He'd specifically booked tickets for us today so we can see the place where we fell in love and where we're getting married in just 2 days. Tomorrow, it's flamingos. The next day, nuptials. I twitch to look at him, but his chest presses right into me, and I nearly knock my nose against his chin. I blink and flinch and pull back, my heart racing. A thunk and then pain shooting through my skull tells me I've hit the wall of the airplane, and I instantly reach to rub the spot. Okay, Logan asks, his voice oh so sexy. Look at it, Sloane. I look again because I love the aerial view of places. I always have, and while we had an amazing time in Australia already this year, we're on yet another trip. Sloane, can you back up? My sister's voice from the aisle seat annoys me, but I chose to do a destination wedding, and my whole family is on the airplane with us. So is Logan's, as well as a couple of our closest friends. I invited my assistant, and she's on board with her husband. My boss and his wife only fly first class, and I can't wait to tease Theral about sipping his mimosa while the rest of us struggled past with our carry-ons. The only thing in mine is my wedding dress, and I checked everything else. Logan had found a writers group in Pittsburgh, and a couple of his author friends are probably writing feverishly about the whole experience the way Logan did on most of the flight here. Sloane, Rose says again, crossly. I paid for the window seat, I gripe at her, but I lean back so she can see some of Belize. We're almost over it now anyway, and it's mostly horizon water and a lot of green. Logan slides his hand into mine, and when I turn to look at him this time, there's enough distance between us to see his dazzling blue eyes, shining like sapphires and stars got together and had babies. We're back in Belize, he whispers, as if I don't know. I snuggle back into his chest and let him lift his arm around me, pull me close, and hold me tightly. Yeah, I say, we're back in Belize. So that's part of the bonus chapter. And if you sign up for this, all it's going to do is send you one email. Actually, I don't even think it sends you an email. It might, or the success page might just say, go here for your bonus. You don't have to download anything. So it's super easy. And in fact, I'm going to put this up during this live event too. If you go here, feelgoodfictionbooks.com/Elana bonus, you'll be able to find the bonus. You don't have to download anything. You don't need a book funnel account. You don't have to sideload anything over to your Kindle. You can read it right on your phone, right on your computer, right where you are. That's it. That's all you have to do. And so there's a lot more there. Hopefully you got that hint that they're going to get to go see the flamingos, and they're going to have their wedding, their destination wedding in Belize. And you'll get to read both of those things. And I just wanted to tell a little funny story about the flamingos. So the book has a flamingo on it. He's kind of subtle over here, but he has a flamingo. And there are flamingos in Central America. Not necessarily in Belize. They actually take an airplane to the Yucatan Peninsula, which is in Mexico, a little bit further up, closer to the Gulf of Mexico than Belize is. Or just further up. It's just above Cancun. Anyway, they fly there in one day because it's only an hour flight, and they go see their half-day tour of the flamingos, and then they fly back. And it's a real place. You can actually go do it. I read a lot of travel blogs and watched videos and all of that to kind of show what the flamingos are. But as I wrote the book, I kept thinking, they need to see some flamingos. And then I just never got them to see the flamingos. And I was like, oh, the next scene, I'll totally have them do that flamingo tour. And then I didn't. And then I was like, oh, but in the next one. And they never got to go see the flamingos. And at the end of the book, I was like, oh, I love this book so much. And then I, finished it and sent stuff off to the paperback formatter to make the cover. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, the flamingos. I never wrote anything for the flamingos. So I quickly wrote some bonus content. I was like, I'll do it as part of their wedding. And that's what I did instead. So there's no flamingos in the book. But the book has a flamingo on the cover, and a lot of the stuff inside the book box is flamingo themed. I was like, you have to have something that is flamingos. So I did. It's in the bonus content. You're welcome. So, okay, let's see. You need to give Sloane and Logan one of those couple names. Slogan. I know. I totally do. And if this were a series, I would do that in the next book. But because it's not, I don't have to hold on to that. And we can just laugh about it anyway. But that's a great point. I do like, people who have a couple names. Cheryl says, I like that they were opposites and accepted that. Also, the one strength was embraced by the other. I like that too. Thank you, Cheryl. I don't always try to write opposites attract, although I think it makes for interesting writing and interesting stories. But I'm very routined, and I like doing things at a certain time, certain day. I look at my to-do list for the day, and if something spontaneous comes onto it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, even though it's like not a big deal. And I've gotten better about it. So I'm a little bit like Sloane like that. And then Logan doesn't want to have, he wants to be some spontaneous. And my husband is very much like that. He doesn't want to make any plans. He hates having something on the calendar that he has to do. So they're kind of like opposites, a lot more extreme than I am with my husband. And I'm getting better, by the way, about my routines. So anyway, Kristen says, I love how much Logan clearly loves Sloane and would do anything for her and waited for her. I like that too, because Sloane wasn't quite where he was, especially because it was unrequited love, right? Like the trope was unrequited love. He's been in love with her for a long time, and he hasn't said anything or acted like it. So he had a long way to go, and he was already like 2 miles ahead, and she had a long way to go. As for Sloane, even though she loved Logan, I'm sure the change in relationship must have been a lot to wrap her head around. A few times I wanted to swat her and tell her to open her eyes and see the man standing before her, loving her unconditionally. I know. I heard that from other people that they kind of bugged her. They called her a little bit immature. I don't think she's immature, but she's on vacation. So, I don't know about you, but when I go on vacation, it's like I can't even take care of myself. So I went to Texas last year with some writing friends. We did a business retreat, and a friend and I got there a day early so that we could check into this fancy place and get our spa treatments like right that very day. And we went to dinner in Austin. We were in downtown Austin. And I'm just like walking along. It's dark because it's March. I'm like, whatever. I don't know. And she's like, we should probably cross the street. I was like, we should? Why? Like, I have zero clue of what's going on around me because I totally check out on vacation. I'm like in vacation brain. I'm not a real adult. I need someone to take care of me. And when I go with my husband, he takes care of me. So he decides what we do. He drives the car. He plans all the activities. I just get us there and book the place to stay and get us home. That's all I do. And so I kind of need someone on vacation to take care of me. And I kind of feel like Sloane was like that too. She was there to have a good time. She wanted all the chips and guac she could have. She wants to relax from the winter, from her very busy job where she's always put together, always knows what's going on. So I totally agree, Kristen. And I think I wrote her the way I did intentionally. And she just needed more time to get where Logan was. And so I definitely agree with you on that. I do think that sometimes that might be a little bit of just writing a younger character as well. She's not indecisive, but she just needed more time, I think, getting to the point where she was ready to even be in a relationship because of her past relationships. All right, let's switch to the most important thing when it comes to reading and or vacationing and or being on the beach. And that is snacks. So, what would your perfect snack for the beach be? As soon as they get to the resort in Belize, they find out there's not 2 rooms. There's been a glitch in their system. They only have 1 room. It's a bigger room. So there's like a sitting area with like a little settee. It has a nice porch with a bench seat on it and like a hot tub out on the balcony. And that totally came from a resort I stayed at in Mexico on the Riviera Maya. It had a hot tub on the balcony. The butler came with the room, and he would come and fill up the hot tub for me and put rose petals in it. Totally on my balcony. And so I put a little bit of that into this book as well. But they get to their room and they're both hungry and tired, and it's been a long day, and they've been flying from basically northeast the US down through to the central time zone in Belize. And so they've gained an extra hour of the day and they're tired. And the first thing Logan does is order chips and guac. And that's one of my all-time favorite snacks on the beach is chips and guac and fish tacos. Whenever I go to the beach and I can order, or there's like a beachside cafe or a restaurant or something where I can look out and see the water, I want fish tacos. And so those are my 2 go-to snacks. So what would be your perfect snack for the beach? Put it in a comment on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know what you would want to eat, bring brought to you. When I've gone to Florida and I ordered from the beach the first year, and then COVID hit and they haven't brought back beach ordering yet. Or I don't know, maybe they never are going to. In Mexico, we've stayed in 2 resorts. One they could order on the beach, the other one they wouldn't let us. Grand Cayman, we've not stayed in a resort. We always stay in like a private VRBO or Airbnb. So there's no beachside service. But the ones that I have been able to, my favorite is to get frozen strawberry drink, chips and guac, fish tacos. It's my all-time favorite. Beach snack. The only thing you have to worry about on the beach and food is birds. And I really have this sort of deathly fear of birds. It's irrational, I know, but whatever. I would challenge any of us to not have an irrational fear of something. And mine is birds. So there you go. So when I have my chips and guac, then I know the seagulls are gonna, the seagull mafia is gonna come in. Um, that's a good one, seagull mafia. I should save that for my next beach romance. And I just have to manage my expectations for the birds and what I'm going to do if they start to attack me. Oh, okay. See, they all pop up at the same time. I think I'm just really delayed, and maybe the snow is making my internet really slow tonight. But okay, we've got nachos, so chips and guac work. Oh, Lynette also said nachos. And Christine said a chocolate person. So anything chocolate for me. I can't disagree with any of those. So I'm not going to disagree with any of those. And if your comments come in a little bit late, then that's fine. We can pop those up as well. Okay, so that's what I've got for you regarding the Relationtrip. I think it's full of fun. It's full of food. It's full of good times. RJ says it's not irrational. I got bitten by, I don't know what that says. Oh, let's see. S. Weeks macaw. I don't know what that means in Honduras. Well, I don't want to be anywhere near a macaw. I mean, I'll go to like a bird refuge and it's great. They're over there. They have big beaks. I bet that was really painful. A macaw bite. Honduras sounds amazing though. Maybe I'll have to write a vacation romance in Honduras. And Kristen says frozen drinks, pretzels. I'm not a big eater when on the sand. Fair enough. Fair enough. In Florida, I went to Cocoa Beach for just a couple of hours, and I just had a granola bar out of my bag and one of those squeezable apple sauces. I mean, I'm 5. I can have a squeezable applesauce anytime I want. Okay, no judgment. So sometimes you have to make do with the snacks you've got. So I was just going to open it to Q&A at this point. If you have any questions, it doesn't have to be about the Relationtrip. It can be about anything if you want. If you want to talk about Liz Isaacson books, if you want to talk about writing process, if you want to talk about standalones or series, whatever. We can be here for another several minutes. And then, of course, I'm going to draw our book box winner and our paperback winner at the end. So, yeah, I did have, you can talk tropes. I forgot about the one bed in this book. The one bed that they share. I really love that trope. And I write clean and wholesome romance. For those of you who might be new or just read the Relationtrip and haven't read any of my other stuff. So there's not any sex or swearing in my books, but I really love this idea of the one bed. And it's not something you see a whole lot in sweet romance or clean and wholesome romance. And I thought, how's that going to work? Especially if Logan literally has been in love with her. What's that going to look like? What kind of intimacy will that bring? And of course, even though I don't want to say even though, that makes it sound bad, but just because I write clean and wholesome doesn't mean I don't want there to be high sexual tension. So I'm always looking for what I can do to have high sexual tension between my hero and my heroine, because I think that's really what we as romance readers love. And I just keep the explicit content off the page. So I'm always looking for that. And the one bed trope really helped me, I think, keep some of that tension between Sloane and Logan. I almost said slogan again. High on the page, because they had to get together every night. They had to be in the same room, just to shower in there with him, even though the door is closed. And she talks to herself in the shower. It's how she gets things out that are hard and confusing for her. And so she has to do all of that in a space where he is. And so I thought that brought a really interesting dynamic. So I forgot to bring up the one bed trope when we were talking a little bit about tropes. Okay, so Lynette has a question and she says, will you be writing more standalones or was this a one-time thing? I would like to. I had the Relationtrip on my schedule for August, this upcoming August. And I don't know why I wrote it in January. I was in Grand Cayman. It was the book talking to me. I had time and I wrote it. Of course, then I was super far behind on my rom-com that comes out this Friday, and I had to push Gabe back 2 weeks, but we're not going to talk about that because in my head, I had enough time to squeeze in this standalone. I would like to do one or two a year. I would like to do one every November and again in February or March. And the reason is because I'm trying to get my Elana Johnson name, who writes beach romance, to be releasing in her main beach series 3 books a year, May, July, and September, which are beach romance months. I don't really want to release a book every month. That's a little bit too much for me with the rom-com name and the cowboy name and the women's fiction name. And so I want Elana to do 4 books a year. And if she does 3 beaches a year, May, July, and September, then she has room, hopefully, maybe for a standalone in November. But sometime November felt, number one, I couldn't do it with my production schedule last year and my back surgery. So I couldn't do a November book last year. But I don't know about releasing it before Christmas, kind of moving into Christmas winter season. I actually think releasing it in February, March is ideal, as we're trying to come out of spring. And those of us who live in wintry places would really like to be done with the wintry places. And now we have this amazing tropical vacation romance that we can read every year. So I would like to do more of them. I think I've confessed this before, either in my reader group, which you should join if you have not joined, or in another live event in the past, that I really like to buy pre-made covers. If I have not confessed that before, this is me confessing that I really love to buy pre-made covers. And I probably have, let's be conservative and say a half dozen pre-made covers that would fit a standalone vacation romance. This was a pre-made cover that I bought in August of 2021. So I've had this cover with this title for over a year and a half before the book even came out. I knew I wanted to write a book called The Relationtrip because I thought that was a really cute play on relationship, which speaks to romance. It's this graphic cover, right? It doesn't have people on it. It's illustrated, it's cartoony, and it's orange and bright and fun. When I saw this cover, I knew I wanted it. But I attend Overbuying Pre-Made Covers Anonymous, and I had put myself on a pre-made buying fast. I could not just buy whatever pre-made cover I wanted. And so I didn't buy it. And I kept checking on it. Next week I checked on it and I was like, oh, it's still available. Next week I checked on it. Nobody had bought it. I was like, oh, it's still available. Oh my goodness. After about a month, maybe 2 months, I was like, that cover is meant for me. Nobody has purchased it yet. It's my cover. And so I bought it. And it's done by a lady named Susanna at Elephant Books. And I just think it's awesome. And I held on to it. I sent her the title. I knew it was going to be an Elana book. I want Elana to write my standalones, even though I probably could have put Donna Jeffries on this book. It reads like a rom-com. I've seen people call it a rom-com. They're hashtagging it closed door rom-com. I don't think it's a rom-com. I think it's a contemporary romance, standalone contemporary romance. But I realize that there are some funny things in it. It has some clever banter. But I could have put Donna on it, and I didn't. I put Elana on it because she's my beach brand. And honestly, I don't want to be sort of cornered into writing all future standalones as rom-coms. So I didn't want to put Donna's name on it for that reason as well, which is sort of an author branding thing on the stand author branding standpoint is how I look at it. It's how I look at that from like a business perspective. So yeah, I've had the idea and the cover for a long time. I put it up for pre-order last August, intending to have a year-long pre-order, write it, and then I moved it up to March when I finished it in January, because I could get it out to my proofreader quickly. She had a spot, and that's how it came to be out in March. and I'm thrilled with it, and I love the book, and I hope that if you choose to read the book that you will too. Lynette says, I guess we'll get more if you have the covers. You're gonna get more. I have one called Beach Club. I bought one that has these two people. It's illustrated also, and they're wearing scuba diving equipment. I'm like, I cannot wait to write something like that where something goes wrong with the scuba diving, or I don't know. I love stranded romance. I know it's not a super popular trope, but I love romance where the hero and the heroine are stranded together. They have to rely on each other, and I just cannot imagine a better scenario than being stranded after a scuba diving trip gone wrong on the beach in the rainforest. I am excited about it already. And if I'm on my husband's computer tonight, because that's where we do our live events from, is the office with his computer. If he, if I was on my computer and I could show you the cover, I totally would, because it is so cute. I don't have a cover for it yet because I have to really get my wit and cleverness about me to come up with something that I think is as amazing as the Relationtrip. So I've been researching some different titles for some different things, but I have two that I can think of right off the top, three that I can think of right off the top of my head that for vacation romances, standalones. And so I imagine that we'll probably have more, and I'd like to do one a year. Two, I think, is really going to be pushing it. Cheryl says, I first read you as Liz Isaacson. Thank you. And didn't know you wrote under three names. And I read an Elena book, and I'm like, Kindle is messed up. They have the wrong author pick in this book. True story. Yeah. I do actually use different author photos for each of my pseudonyms, but they are all me. They're just different poses in different clothes. And so Donna's wearing like a black shirt. Liz is sitting in front of the by the Christmas tree in front of the mantle. Elena is wearing like a cheetah leopard sweater, and Jesse's wearing a denim jacket. So it's all the same photo shoot. We went to like a studio that you can rent, and my husband is a photographer. So he took all my photos, and I just changed my clothes. And I was like, and that one will be Donna, and you will be Jesse, and you will be Elena, and you will be Liz. But they're all really me. So it's been super fun to write different things. I love my cowboys. I love the beach. I love the Southern rom-coms where I get to include lots of food and funny pets. And Just His Barista, just a plug for that, for those of us here tonight, comes out on Friday. And oh, my paperbacks are in the other room. I got the paperbacks on Friday when I was out of town. So I just got to see them on Sunday. And they are so cute, and they are green, and you are going to love them. And that book comes out on Friday. And I had a super fun time writing that book. Coy is our hero in that book. He owns Legacy Brew with Macy, who is our heroine. They co-own the coffee shop, and they really don't get along at all. They have not liked each other forever, except he really likes her. So it's kind of like a Logan Sloane situation, but it's enemies to lovers instead of friends to lovers. But he has his unrequited crush on her for years now, which is why he really resisted her buying into the coffee shop in the first place, is because he's like, they'll never get rid of her, and I'll have to figure out what to do with this horrible crush. Anyway, it's a super fun book. He has bearded dragons. And so I didn't know anything about bearded dragons prior to this, except one of my work wives, Bonnie, her son has bearded dragons. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. I'm going to put that on my list to work into a book at some point. I've been friends with Bonnie for like 6 years now, and I finally worked it into a book. Coy has 2 bearded dragons, and there's a pretty funny scene, in my opinion, with Macy and Coy and the bearded dragons. And then Macy rescues animals. So she's got 3 dogs and a couple cats. And there's a pretty funny scene between Logan and her golden retriever as well. The golden retriever is on the cover. And the bearded dragons are not, their names are, Orion and Elmer. They are not on the front cover, so they're not on the ebook cover, but they're on the paperback cover on the back. So you don't get the bearded dragon unless you get the paperback. Anyway, I don't see any other comments coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and put up our giveaway thing. I'm going to run to Facebook really quick, draw a couple of winners. It takes me 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'm going to award the book box and the paperback So I will, let's see, I will be right back in just 1 minute. All right, I am back. I realized I didn't have to go to Facebook. All the comments are right here in the back end of my streaming service. So it's fine. Both of these people happen to be from YouTube. And so our book box winner, this thing is huge. It's 14 by 14 by 4. It's because it has a big thing in it and then a lot of other smaller things. And then, of course, the books is going to be Cheryl. Cheryl wins with her comment, sorry about the snow, checking in from Crescent City, Florida. The weather is super. Yes. So Cheryl, you are going to contact me to get your book box. It's pretty easy. You're just going to email me at elanajohnson.com. So the trick is spelling my name right. Let me take my thing off. There's my name, Elana, Elana at elanajohnson.com. You email me your mailing address, complete mailing address, first, last name, mailing address, so that I can ship this to you. I'm going to have to go to the post office myself because my husband is out of town. That is how much I love you guys. He normally mails all of my packages for me. I know. I have the first world life. I'm the worst. And then our paperback winner, paperback of the Relationtrip, goes to Christine with her comment, loves to go to South or North Carolina because she's a beach person. Again, Christine, you are going to email me for your prize. Elana at elanajohnson.com and with your mailing address, and I will ship the Relationtrip to you. Thank you guys so much for being here with me in our live book club tonight. I have a couple of other live events coming up this month that I want to tell you about. Next Wednesday, gosh, I should have opened my calendar before now. It's April 12th, which I believe is next Wednesday. It is at 7 p.m. Eastern, so a little bit earlier for those of us who live in the West or the Pacific time zones. For me, that's 5 o'clock. But I'm going to be live right here on the Feel Good Fiction page or the Feel Good Fiction YouTube channel. Both events are already there. You can say you're interested in them. Facebook and YouTube will remind you that they're coming up. I am going to be live with Bridget Baker, Jan Moran, Tess Thompson, Carrie Trumbo, and Esther Hatch. So 3 historical romance authors, 3 contemporary romance authors. Next week, we are giving away a Kindle Paperwhite and 6 books. So come join us next week at 7 p.m. Eastern. The events are right here listed on the Feel Good Fiction page or the Feel Good Fiction YouTube channel. Then I am also going to be live with Tess Thompson. We're going to be talking books, standalones, vacation romance, Relationtrip stuff in her group Patio Chat on Thursday, April 27th. So I've got 2 more events this month for those of you who love coming to live events, interacting with authors. I'll be live with Tess that night, and it's also at 7 p.m. Eastern, so again, a little bit early. And I'm going to talk to Tess about doing the giveaway outside of the live event. The Kindle giveaway will be, you don't have to be there live to enter or get the 6 books. I will email about it next week, and then I believe it will be open for a full week after the event. But mark your calendars. Make sure you're checking your newsletter, your email, because that's how we're going to communicate about these giveaways, for the Kindle one especially. So definitely watch for those coming up, one next week and then one the last week of April. Thank you guys so much for coming. Super awesome to see you, Cheryl. Thank you, Lynette. And I hope you guys have a great evening. And I hope wherever you are, the weather is exactly what you want it to be. You stay safe. There's a lot of tornado warnings across the Midwest lately, in the US. And if you're overseas, whatever's going on in your world, I wish you the very best and God bless. I'll talk to you later. Have a great evening.